What about the scene where you are having your eyes kept open by a clamp, a surgical device that was used for eye surgery? That was the real deal. Did you get? What was that like for you as the actor, Malcolm McDowell?
Well,
with Kubrick?
How would it be for you?
It would be dreadful. It would be positively
that's
dreadful.
Exactly what it was. There's no way around it. It was horrible, but you know,
oh God.
He had a doctor there to persuade me that it was going to be fine. The doctor was a nice guy and said, "Oh yes, well, you won't feel anything because you're going to be anesthetized." And I went, okay. So, and how long will that last? Oh yeah, but every, 10, 15 seconds, I have to put artificial tears in your eyes because otherwise they'll dry up because
Right.
you're not blinking. I went, Doc, you won't forget that. He goes, no. But then, of course, Stanley gave the guy a line of dialogue. All he had to say was, "How are you feeling, little Alex?" And he kept saying, "What's your name again?" I went, "Jesus, Doc, don't even say the line. Who cares? It'll be cut anyway." And, of course, I'm tapping my foot,
Right.
with the 15 seconds. I'm going, "Get it in, Doc. God, it's drying up here, drying up." And it's true. I did not feel it at the time, but these lid locks, they're called, were falling out of my eyes because, of course, they're used in delicate eye operations, but you're usually lying on your back. You're not sitting up watching videos.
Oh.
And, they kept slipping out. And every time they fell out, they drag across my cornea. And I got really messed up corneas. And it wasn't until I was driving into my street in London that the pain, I cannot even describe it. It was so horrendous.
Oh,
it drove me to the point of madness. I mean, literally slamming my head into the wall. It was so painful. Luckily, my doctor lived around the corner, and obviously he knew it was serious, and he came running around with his bag, and he had some morphine in it and gave me a shot, and I was out for the night, and the next morning I woke up, the eyes heals very quickly. I mean, it wasn't healed totally, but the pain had completely gone, and the cuts had healed. It just felt like I had sand in the eyes,
Did Kubrick know this, that you needed this health
Yeah,
care?
he knew it.
Okay.
He knew it. I mean, I told him, and he was like, well, this is his sense of humor. So when I got out of the thing, the doctor put a pad on one of my eyes because he obviously saw something. He didn't have his microscope or anything with him.
Right.
And so Stanley came up, he looked, and he goes, "Oh, gee, well, can we shoot on this eye?"
Come on.
Now that, was Stanley's sense of humor. And I went, "Yeah, Stanley, we can shoot on this eye. You can destroy both and my sight, and then I'll sue you."
Wow. Malcolm McDowell here on the Rich Eisen Show. I could literally talk to you for hours about this, but is it true you ad-libbed singing in the rain while you conducted the mayhem in the film? That was your... Why'd you do that? Where'd you come up with that one, Malcolm?
Well, in the scene, Alex is at his most euphoric. And euphoria is, is put in a beautiful box by Gene Kelly and that movie, Singing in the Rain. And if you want to replicate euphoria, that's it. That's what Hollywood has given us. And it was so iconic and extraordinary and stayed with me. I saw it as a young man, maybe a child. And it was so extraordinary that... so when I started, when he asked me if I could dance, and of course I can't really dance, but I said, "Can I dance?" I was so bored by sitting around for 5 days and doing nothing. And I launched into it, and on the beats would be smacking and, doing all that as a kind of joke. And I looked at Stanley. He was laughing so hard he had his handkerchief stuffed in his mouth. And he put me in his car. We drove back to his house because we were on location. And he bought the rights to Singing in the Rain. And we came back and we shot the whole thing using that as the basis of the scene.
So it was a choice by you, and you felt the freedom to do it because Kubrick, because we had Vincent D'Onofrio, who was one of the stars of Full Metal Jacket, on a couple of years ago, saying that he hardly ever got a direction from Kubrick. He would always say to him, like, what are you thinking? That would be essentially it. And so you felt the freedom to come up like, I'm going to do it this way. And he loved, and he laughed. And
no, that's what he demands. That's what he wants. You're a collaborator. You're not just an actor. You're collaborating with him on it. And that, I said to him, now I know why you love Peter so much, Peter Sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'd do all these funny voices and you get to choose. And he laughed. He said, you're so right. He goes, yeah, Peter was great at that. And, Peter Sellers doing that whole thing as Dr. Strangelove in the wheelchair and the Nazi salute, that was all a kind of gag, a joke. And it was so extraordinary. But that's how great things in movies happen sometimes. They're not scripted. They're between. It's a feeling that has to come out at some point. In a weird way, Stanley, it didn't have to give me any direction. He just really supplied the, atmosphere to do it. And that's all you need, really.
So I guess my last question for you, Malcolm McDowell, is how'd you come out of this? You're telling me about scratched corneas and, injections and things of that nature. And I imagine just performing this and going through all this had to, you had to get into the role, had to leave your own senses on occasion. I mean, how did shooting and filming A Clockwork Orange get you?
I'm not a method actor. So, I took the codpiece off at the end of the day and went for dinner. There was no question.
Okay.
It being a psychologically damaging. That's bullshit. I'm an actor. That's what I do. Don't forget the shoot was, I think, sort of 8 or 9 months, and there's 2 or 3 instances of injury. That's it. So most of the time, of course, it was just really. Trying to find, in every scene, trying to find the magic. And he and I used to laugh about it. And there was one scene, he came to me and he goes, well, that's it. I went, that's it. He goes, I can't shoot that. That's boring. And I went, Stanley, that's the way we're going to do it. No, come on. We got to do something. I went, no. The audience need a moment to recoup. And it was actually the Alex's entrance into prison. And we had a guy there who was telling us, as we had not been to prison, he was giving us all the insights in what happens. Stand behind the white line and empty your pockets and all this kind of stuff. And I went, no, Alex is going. Now he's been caught. He's going to play the game, and it turned out, very well.
Well, I would remember that scene. It wasn't boring. You were told to pick something up and put it back down properly. You were being very, cocky about that. This was just I don't remember that being boring.
Right.
That was a terrific scene.
I don't think it was boring either. So we had a bit of a...
There we go.
I said, well, why don't you get to look at it tomorrow in the dailies, and then we'll see. And I never heard another word about it. So I knew it was fine.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.